Built on Green Tree, Ryan Ragone, defensive senior analyst for the brand here, joins us from Texas on his lunch break. Appreciate you doing this, my friend.
Of course, brother, of course.
So 38-34, clearly Miami's not their best performance. I think everyone's admitted that. But at the end of the day, like Lance Guidry said, I'd rather come out of that 5-0 than 4-1. So you found a way to win. They did finish. They got some stops, which is kind of where we talk about defensive side of things. Cam Ward down the stretch was a closer, right? Like everything you want in your quarterback at finishing time, he was. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened with Miami defensively, both good and some things to correct moving forward. How Virginia Tech played Miami, right, and the opponent that they were. So Ryan, I guess we'll start here. You said it before we taped, and others have said it as well. They were a good team, and I'm not sure everyone thought, based on their record and who they had lost to, that they were as good, probably even as they showed on film. But I know the Miami coaches respected them, and it was very easy to see in that game they brought out their best.
Well, I think another thing that people aren't highlighting enough is, our team. How many games have we played together? Right? We've played 4 games before then. Okay. Everybody else on this team is new, transfer. We barely have, I wouldn't say barely, but there's not a lot of guys that have stayed here and played together here. All right. We are a fairly new team. That team that we played returned everyone. All right. These guys have been around each other, have played with each other. All right. These are the same guys, that have played a whole season, came back, had a whole off season with each other. All right. That is something that not a lot of people are talking about, but it's a very, very big deal. Knowing, hey, you know what? I could trust my guy to do exactly what he needs to do every single play. Playing with a new player that you've had 4 games with, it's, you could say you trust him and all, but at the same time, you only have 4 games of experience.
And 4 games plus 2 games that we could say supremely inferior, right? So you're getting reps and building up some experience. But the challenge when you play a better team with better players, that stuff could be exposed or highlighted more about wherever the growth has to come from.
Exactly. They have veteran guys, we have some younger guys playing, which I think they played well. We have guys that don't have as much experience as they did, like Frederique, I believe that's
OJ Frederique, yeah.
Frederique.
You put a little Haitian hook on the end, I think.
Well, I'm Hispanic, so that
right.
that Frederique,
Right.
makes me a little bit like But anyways, so I think he played very, very well. I think he's played well all season, and he's a guy that, again, with more experience, I mean, I think he's going to be.
Now you're saying, like, what's he look like as a junior, right? That gets a little scary.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary. To be able to play how he is right now as a true freshman, a few games in with the team that we have, he's impressive.
The other thing, too, would be, and I think it's a great point by you, and I have no idea how the staff feels about this, but in this era of the portal, probably one of the hardest things is to bring everybody together. It's the one thing to say you have Tyler Barron and Simeon Barrow or Meesh Powell or Marley Cook or CJ Clark or whoever it is, Dyani Hill. As individuals, those are good pieces, but I don't need to say this to you, but you could say it back from an explanatory standpoint as both a player and now a coach, that it's 11 players making up a unit, not 7 individuals out there playing the game.
No, exactly. And, with them being individuals, one thing that was really, really great about college football, all right, was, and it's kind of gotten away with the portal and, you're able to transfer anytime you want, right, is the bond that you create with your teammates that, you're going to be there for some time now. You're not able to leave, right away, right? If you do, you got to sit out, stuff like that. So a lot of people stick it out and they fight. You create a bond with these teammates. You're able to, there's something behind the way you play with them. There's something behind the fight, all right? You care deeply about this person because you've known them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, like you know them very, very well, and things about them that, knowing them for a few months, it's not the same, right? So I think that's something that kind of gets lost in today's game. about the strength and the power of that, bond that isn't there, as much anymore.
I don't disagree, and it probably puts a little more onus. And Coach Cristobal, I think, has talked about this on whatever you do over the summer to do what you can to sort of force feed some bonding, because you got to get those guys to assimilate as quickly as possible.
I go and talking about that. I think of our team going into the 2020 season where we ended up winning the most AC games that we've ever won. That team, I kid you not, every single weekend we were together. And it wasn't like, oh, like 1, 2. Every team has groups, that's
Of course.
that happens. There's like 3, 4 guys hanging out, whatever. No, that team, we did everything together. When you saw one of us, you saw about 20 or 30 of us. I mean, we went
And that's
everywhere.
important. It doesn't mean the
100.
whole team's always going to get along. Not every, I mean, that's impossible. It's like 80 people, but the more likability, respect, trust in the locker room, that's going to show itself on the field.
And it wasn't just like, oh, all the linemen, and then we got, running backs and receivers.
You know how that goes, right? You know how the cliques of the locker room go.
We had specialists with receivers, with the quarterback, with the D line, with the DBs. Everybody was out together. Every single buddy. Like, it didn't matter where we went. We would go to the movies. I kid you not. Go to the movies about 30 deep. 30,
Sell it out.
Deep. Yeah, literally just selling out. They had a great night at the concession stand. I'll tell you that.
a lot of like extra large pop. Just upsize it. Upsize the popcorn. Upsize the drink. We're good.
Yep.
I will say this about Cam Ward. I will say this about, well, I think people know him, but I will say this about Cam Ward from everything I've heard, that's what he was very intentional about doing that when he got here.
Yeah, and I think that's something. I'm not sure if it happens in Florida and other places, but in Texas, you play on a Friday night, right? On Thursdays, usually your team, they get together and they have a meal. That's just like, you just do it. That's how it's supposed to be, whether, it's at one person's house and, a bunch of parents cook, whatever it is, but you're having a meal with each other, because you talk about breaking bread with someone, it creates a special bond. It's not just going, hey, let's go out and get some, drinks, or hey, let's go do this or whatever, let's go party. No, breaking bread, there's conversation. You're getting to know each other.
You're learning. You're really learning about somebody.
Exactly. So the power of that, and he knows that, I'm sure, from being from Texas, that's what you do, So he definitely brings.
Plus, the more I would say, this playing linebacker, it's a very read-oriented position. A lot of them on the football field, but I would imagine the more you play with somebody, not only you have a feel and understanding for their strengths, their weaknesses, how they play on the field. You've been in the film room together. You've been on you know what I mean? Like, it's very intuitive after a while.
No, it really is. That's one thing that I can tell you from experience. Sitting in that film room with other people on your defense, not even just like, hey, let me sit next to, or let me go watch film with another one of my linebackers. No, let's go in. If you get your starting 11 guys plus, a couple backups in, because a lot of times you're not getting everybody. All right. Yeah, maybe
it's the way of the world, right?
Yeah, you're not going to get everybody in there. All right. But you're trying to get as many people as you can. If you could get a good amount of those starters and get some of your backups in that play, and y'all watch film on your own, and y'all are just talking instead of the coach having to lead you, y'all are talking, hey, how would you play this? Hey, let's go through this call. Okay, cool. I'm going to pick up this guy. Oh, well, actually, you should play it this way because I'm going to do this. That right there, that is how you build a great team and a great defense. It has to be player-led that way.
I would agree, and that's why I think leadership's important, because someone's got to start that, right? Someone's got to bring those guys together, or someone's got to be in a position where those other guys respect the person who's – there's got to be an alpha. There's got to be a lead dog. There's got to be someone. And then at the end of the day, you guys are the ones on the field. Like, Shannon Dawson has a great outlook on this. I mean, and so does Coach Guidry, but Shannon Dawson's like, they're playing. Cam Ward's playing. Tyler Van Dyke's playing. Like, I have taught them enough. I have to trust them that they saw what they saw, and they saw it for a reason. And they made the change or check or read that they made.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are coaches who are very controlling and can't operate that way, but I think I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy, but I think it's a healthy way to do it.
No, and it was the same thing with D. Nick. He told us all the time, he's like, look, I don't want you to be a robot. He's like, every single one of y'all are different. All right. And I'm not going to tell you, you need to run this blitz exactly like this, or you need to do this coverage exactly like this. All right. I'm going to tell you how you should play it. All right. But each one of y'all has different talents. All right. Chase Smith, he's a different build. All right. Than what Wesley was saying is. Right. Or what Kiko Maliola is. Like, it is different. All right. He's tall, lengthy guy. His blitz path is going to be different than someone like Bobby Washington, who is just extremely, extremely, extremely fast. It's different the way you're going to play things. And he realized is that over, experience from playing and coaching. You want to get your guys to where they just know what they're doing, right? And then play what, in a way, what brought you here, what got you here, use that, all right, to make the play and go a little bit further.
So I guess we just got off. How much more time you got? We just got off path. We just kind of flowing.
Yeah, no, we're good. I got a few more minutes.
All right, so let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game, Ryan. I know talking to Coach Guidry, and even if you're watching on film, their quarterback Kyron Drones, experienced, mobile, athletic, big, and that was problematic. And he was worried about that, and it kind of bore out to be true. What were the problems he presented as you saw them?
Look, I mean, I actually know Kyron, Houston native, played at Shadow Creek High School, which, was about 15 minutes from me. I actually trained with them before, know him from Derek. This guy is a big dude. He's not some little guy that you're going against.
No, what's funny in person, when you watched him from the field level, like, again, I think there's some things of this sport that are not cookie cutter or plug and play. Well, he's a quarterback. He's mobile. He's just, like you just said, everyone's different. Everyone looks different, built different, moves different. He was a big cat. He was filled up.
There's not a lot of quarterbacks that you're going to see that are lead blocking. All right. I don't know if you remember the play I'm talking about. He led block.
On the reverse.
He is.
I went back and watched that twice. I was like, wait, who is that? Who? Jaden Harris having a problem with? Oh shoot, he's having a problem with the quarterback.
Because he's not a little guy. He can move.
No.
And he is strong. He's
probably bigger than Jaden Harris.
Oh, he 100% is. I mean, he's probably around 230 pounds. He's about 6'3". He's a big guy. This guy can move. He has a strong arm. I mean, that is – I don't want to say that's the toughest quarterback we're going to face, but in the terms of duality, honestly, like this guy can truly – he's one of those quarterbacks that can do it all. He really, really can.
And then I thought the other thing too, Ryan, and you can maybe elaborate on this, is that they showed a lot. And I gave, I think, our guys a lot to think about. And when you have an athletic quarterback combined with the motions, the shifts, the rerouting, all that stuff, like it's not. I equated it to that they were taxing the mentality of us, not in a tempo way, but just in a what we had to discern every single play. That every play there was something that had to be decoded in some way, shape, or form.
They had a great game plan. They really did, doing that. They probably saw some things on film that, gave us a little bit of problems, but they executed in a very, very high level. All right. If you look and watch it over, yes, they're doing a lot of motions, but almost on every play, you're going to see a hat on a hat when it comes to run blocking, or whenever they're motioning, you see after the motion, they're doing, the receivers are twisting. They're doing a whole bunch of different stuff. I mean, they did a bunch of different things that made it hard on us. All right. And those are one of those things where it's not difficult, to call a game like that. But at the same time, you don't want to call too much. All right. Especially when they're doing a lot of different things. You want to get your most, I don't want to say basic, but the ones that your guys have down, call those, okay? Until they stop, going with emotions, going with it, because eventually,
that's Lance Guidry's mindset, right? He's like, you have to stop what they present, and they'll fall back on what they do. Yeah, if you don't, you're in trouble. Once you do, you're good, and every game's different.
Exactly, just like that. That's all it was right there.
Tackling, it's a very fundamental thing. What seem to be the issue, and is that something that gets you worried moving forward? I don't
Guys
think
stop.
it's a carryover thing, but you never know.
Guys stopping their feet. When you got a guy in open space, you don't want to stop your feet. It gives them. I mean, they're athletes too. They're on scholarship too. They're playing Power 5 level. Just as you are. You can't stop your feet. When you're about to go in an open field tackle like that. Once they freeze you, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna win that. All right. Keep your feet moving. Track inside out. I mean, it's very, very simple technical things that can be fixed, and I'm sure they're gonna go over today, actually, in practice. Tuesday
Today.
is the day. Tuesday.
I will say the running back. Now, the running back was impressive on film, but I just thought because he was smallish, I didn't think that would be as much of an issue. But his ability in person to kind of start, stop, and cut, that was a tip of the hat to him, in my opinion.
Well, look, he's small, right? Which, some people look at that as a negative, but he has very, very low center of gravity, great balance, and he's very shifty. That is, for some
Try
teams,
to tackle that.
exactly. And we got a bunch of big guys on our defense. So it doesn't match up, as well at times. If you have a guy like that, I mean, that's hard. That's hard to play against at times. And he wasn't no small guy that weighed 175 pounds. No,
he was rocked up too. He just was in a
exactly.
smaller package, but he was super shifty.
He was, and he had a very good, very, very good balance. He got hit a couple times where you would think, he would go down, and he stayed right on his feet. He actually took one 45 yards for a touchdown, I believe, and
That's
where
the
he
one
got
that came
hit
off
in
the
the hole.
Kiko. Yeah.
He got hit in the hole, stayed on his feet like nothing, and just kept going because of that low center of gravity that he has. So, that's something that it'll give you a problem at times. With people like that, you just got to make sure you wrap up. He's lower. You got to get some weight behind you in doing that. It's something that you got to work with. Maybe in scout team have a little, smaller guy, run the ball more.
Got it. Last two things before I let you go. I think it was a little telling that in a good way, and also probably the thought process on how the overall unit performed, which is Malik Bryant was the only defensive player of the game, like published by the school. So telling in so much as Malik Bryant played well, but also telling in like, hey, look, everyone's talked about it, not our best performance, so you don't get rewarded. But Malik Bryant has been rewarded. He has taken advantage of his opportunities, and that's something that will probably earn him some more playing time moving forward.
100%. Malik is my guy. I'm actually going to talk to him a bit later. He works hard. He is a very, very, very hard worker. He's a guy that wants to learn, and I'm actually glad that seeing him get that opportunity. But 100%, obviously the team didn't play well, but they saw one guy that consistently got in there and he was doing his job. In a game like this, you're going to highlight the guys that have the least amount of MAs, missing assignments or missed opportunities, missed tackles, things like that. All right. Now, obviously, I guess they thought there wasn't that many, right? But there was one that didn't have that many missed assignments, and he made some big plays. So, of course, if I was them, I would highlight him as well.
And what do you see? What do you see as from a skill set level he brings to the table? Why is he having this success?
I mean, he's one of the hardest workers you'll meet. He truly is, and he has some speed around him. He's a very, very good rusher, very good, and that's something I guarantee you the coaches will say too. Look, he has a little bit of everything in his tool belt, and he's working on it. He's a younger guy. This is only his second year, so you're going to see a lot more stuff from him as we go along.
And then last thing, Ryan Ragone, former linebacker. How would you like to match up with? I'm sure you did, but what would you think if you were standing across from Elijah Arroyo, and he's flexed out, and you got? I'm sure that would probably be a safety, but you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, I've actually
not a fun matchup.
Well, I've gone against him many times.
And how'd that work out?
Well, no, I mean, look, I'm a veteran guy, so I mean, I gave him some cushion, and I know what routes he's going to run against me. Like I know that. But sometimes,
well, how about the matchup? How about the problems he presents for others?
The problems look, that guy, I kid you not, he should be I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to jinx something. But he is a very, very, very good tight end. And I think come next March, I believe. I think that's when the draft is. I think a lot of NFL teams are going to or April, yeah. Next April, a lot of NFL teams are gonna end up, agreeing with that.
Vying for his services.
Yes, yes, he has everything. He is fast. He's blocking a lot better than what he did in the past. A lot better. He. This is a real true dual threat guy at tight end.
All right, Ryan Ragone, go back. He's in the classroom. I hope you have any kids there waiting for us.
They're actually outside right now waiting for me.
See you, buddy.
Later.